Allen, up, grabbed, gets away. Oh my goodness, how did he escape? It goes off to McKenzie. He'll drive and dance. The clock continues to tick. He picks up 11. The clock is at 5. The clock is at 3. Miami's won. Zeros on the clock.
Kevin, this game had everything. Both these teams gave everything they had.
I don't even know where to start. It's Wednesday at the time of this recording, and I'm still just flabbergasted. I still don't really know what to say. I don't understand how Isaiah McKenzie didn't run out of bounds on that last play. This I'm having be its own separate video because this game was just nuts. I can't even talk about this game and then talk about all the other games. This needs to be its own fucking video because holy shit. Buffalo did have every chance to win this game. The missed opportunities they had left points on the board at the end of the day. At the end of the day, the missed opportunities left points on the board. But I think the thing I'm even more mad about is, just all the shit talking. All the shit talking, and just how fast everyone's switching up after one fucking game. It's insufferable and it's unbearable. You could sit here all you want and say that's me being a sore loser, but in reality though, Miami, you lost to a practice squad. I'm sorry, you lost to a fucking practice squad. The Bills were out 5 defensive starters. It could have been more considering how many people were going out with heat illness and fucking cramps and everything else. But Miami, you beat a practice squad. Congratulations. Congrats. You beat a fucking practice squad. I probably am even more mad about this loss because of all the shit talking. It's probably what it is. But I've been meaning to come out with this for a second, and I just still can't wrap my head around this shit because just what the fuck? You look at the stats of both teams side by side, the game stats. It's not even close to what was on the scoreboard. Buffalo had 31 first downs to Miami's 15. Buffalo had 497 total yards of offense to Miami's 212 yards. They converted on 11 of their 18 third downs and 2 of their fourth downs. Miami only converted on 3 out of 8 third downs and didn't go for it on fourth down. Time of possession, the Bills had the ball for 40 minutes and 40 seconds to the Miami Dolphins 19 minutes and 20 seconds. And we only put up 19 points on the board. To Miami's 21. 2-score game. And we were right there. Whether it was Tyler Bass's missed field goal because Sam Martin fucked the hold, or Gabriel Davis dropping a touchdown pass, Isaiah McKenzie not running out of bounds. I could go on and on about all the missed opportunities. I really don't, but that's what cost the game. At the end of the day, that's what cost the game. The missed opportunities earlier in the game is what cost the game. And honestly, it was uncomfortable to watch. Everybody was going down with fucking cramps and heat illness or injury, and it was uncomfortable. It was sad to watch. And the NFL talks about player safety and all this shit. Y'all didn't do anything about the possibility of this happening in this game. You guys knew it was going to be this fucking hot. And the other thing is, Dolphins fans just sit here and talk about it being excuses. Like, I really don't think that's a fucking excuse, because you're in fucking layers underneath your shoulder pads and your jersey, then you're wearing the padding with the pants, you're wearing long socks with the cleats. You're gonna get fucking hot. And not only that, the sideline for the Bills, they're literally soaking in the sun. The way the Dolphins Hard Rock Stadium is made is so the home team gets the shade side and the away team is forced to sit in the sun. It's a scientific advantage. And I don't have a problem with that, but when these guys are cooking out there, I mean, they're literally getting cooked out there. I mean, Ryan Bates was red. The dude was cooked. I mean, watching him drop and everybody else drop like flies, it was uncomfortable. I'm not sitting here using it as an excuse. I'm just saying it was uncomfortable. It wasn't safe. It wasn't okay. I'm not saying that's the reason we lost the game. We almost won this game with a fucking practice squad. I mean, what the fuck? Gabe Davis was basically a decoy in this game, except for that one drop catch. Jake Kumro was in before he got hurt. Ed Oliver didn't play. Micah Hyde's out for the whole year. Jordan Poyer didn't play. Dane Jackson didn't play. Christian Benford got hurt early in the game. Jordan Phillips didn't play. Rick Bates got hurt. Spencer Brown left with a heat illness, so Quisenberry had to go in. Mitch Morse didn't play. I mean, most of the team was out. Most of the team was out with injuries, and they almost won this game. And all these power rankings and everything has the audacity to say Miami's a better football team. I'm just not buying it with the Bills. And again, I have a conscious bias to this team, but I'm not buying it. It's fucking bullshit. I think Miami is definitely a playoff team this year, and I definitely think they've came a long way since that 2019 tank for Tua season. And I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, well, going into the game, we had Josh Allen, we're fine. No, I was worried about the injuries. I was worried about Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. But honestly, this defense stepped up and basically held them down, except for that 3rd and 22 to Jalen Waddle. But for the most part, they weren't even really involved in the game. I still tip my hats off to them. I still tip my hat off to Kyer Elam, Jamarcus Ingram from UB, an undrafted rookie, Jaquan Johnson, a 2019 4th rounder, I believe, Damar Hamlin, a 2021 6th rounder. I mean, for the most part, they locked down Tyreek Hill and fucking Jalen Waddle. And Mike Gesicki didn't do anything either. I mean, the Dolphins' touchdown was by River Craycraft, and then Chase Edmonds got 2 of them. Obviously, there had to be a winner to come out of this game, but the Bills, I feel like the Bills really deserved to win this game, and they didn't. And look, with the clock hit 0, it is what it is, but it sucks to see that they put their heart out there. They were baking in the sun. It was miserable, and then it came down to the wire at the end like that. Clock hit 0, didn't have enough time to get the snap off. They didn't have enough time to spike it, and that's the game. And like I said, it was uncomfortable. And Josh missed a throw to Isaiah McKenzie. It was a dud. I mean, he was exhausted. You could tell he was exhausted, and they were. They're playing in the sun. They're playing in the sun. And I mean, Isaiah McKenzie was throwing up at halftime, and like I said, all the heat illnesses, it was just uncomfortable. It was fucked. The whole thing was fucked. But they still almost won the game. I mean, just watching that, though, like, I've talked to my friends and other people I know watch the Bills, and literally we're all just like, what the fuck was that? What the fuck was that game? Because it was just a clusterfuck. And then Tua getting hurt, and leaving with a concussion and coming back and saying it wasn't concussion. Like, come on. The dude was dazed. The dude couldn't even walk, and you're saying it's a back injury? I mean, the NFLPA is investigating it, but nothing's going to come out of it. Because at the end of the day, the NFL doesn't give a shit. The only thing the NFL cares about is making fucking money. They don't care about player safety or player personnel or any of that shit unless there's a fucking lawsuit. That's the only time they care about it. Look at all the effort they put into the whole Deshaun Watson debacle. You think they're gonna put time into a fucking concussion case for Tua? No, they don't give a shit. Oh my god. I mean, the Dolphins had a good game plan on defense, and normally it's not a good idea to blitz Allen or Mahomes or Herbert or even Rodgers or Brady. But in this case, it worked. And not to mention, too, the Bills lost their backup center, Greg Van Roten, so then Greg Mans, who was elevated from the fucking practice squad, had to play. The third string center was in there. And Tommy Doyle came in there for Rick Bates. He tore his ACL. He's done for the year now. They signed, I think it's Jamal Murray from the Arizona Cardinals. I don't know his first name. I know his last name is Murray. They signed him, and he was on the injury report today for a foot issue, so I'm like, I don't know, but he's just a backup. The Bills also signed Xavier Rhodes, by the way. I think that'll definitely help. Dane Jackson came back to practice today, so that was good to see. It looks like these guys are starting to get healthy, which is a good thing, but it's just like the injuries are frustrating. And that's what it really came down to, was the injuries. At the end of the day, it came down to just the fact that this team was banged up. And if your guys are hurt, you're not going to win games. Your whole team like that's fucked. You're normally not going to win games, but you have Josh Allen and them out there. You almost won the game. I mean, Josh Allen's a miracle worker, man. He almost won them that game, and he was putting his body on the line, throwing it, running with it. I mean, it's just insane. He threw the ball 63 times because the Bills didn't have a running game. Again, running game was inconsistent, non-consistent. I mean, it wasn't even there. It was non-existent. That's the word I'm looking for. It was non-existent. And for the third year in a row now, we're sitting here saying, where's the running game? Where's the running game? Where's the running game? Third year now. And I love Devin Singletary. I love Motor. I like Zach Moss. And James Cook I thought was a good draft pick. But they're not using James Cook. Devin Singletary couldn't get anything going. And why on God's earth on the second fucking drive did you run it twice with Zach Moss? After you threw it the entire first drive. Which then led to a strip sack fumble and Miami ran into the end zone with Chase Edmonds. What the fuck? I don't know what that was. I don't know what that was either. I mean, I'm bouncing around here, but you get the point. If you watch the game, you know what I'm talking about. Or if you saw the highlights, you know what I'm talking about. I mean, Josh threw the ball 63 times. The man has fucking heart. And if I didn't think I could already have enough respect for the guy, if I already think the dude was a dog already, watching him in this fucking game, it just further made me love the guy. And it further made me want him to win a Super Bowl. I'm like, this guy needs a fucking trophy. This guy needs to be on the podium with Jim Nantz fucking holding a Super Bowl trophy. Just like Peyton Manning did. Just like Tom Brady did. Just like Patrick Mahomes did. Just like Matt Stafford did. This past offseason. Or this past season. Like all those other guys. Drew Brees, all of them. This man needs to be on that podium. I know you're not going to win them all. You're not. You're not going to win every game of the season. You're going to have at least one game a year or maybe two where you're like, we should have had that one. And this is one of them. And it's just the way it goes in the NFL. And it's just the way it goes being a Bills fan. Still not easy being a Bills fan, but things have certainly gotten easier, obviously, over the years, but it's still hard being a Bills fan. It's still hard. And for the delusional Miami Dolphins fans saying Tua's better than Allen, look in the fucking mirror. Get over yourself. Like, get over yourself. Tua was 13 of 18 for 186 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Josh went 42 of 63 for 400 yards and 2 touchdowns. He also rushed it 8 times for 47 yards, had a long run for 19 yards. Before Josh went into this game against Miami, he was 7-1 against the Dolphins. Now he's 7-2, but you can't sit here and say Tua's better than Allen when Allen is 7-2 against your fucking team. Like, come on. Grow up. Like, grow up. When the Bills beat the Patriots in 2011 with Ryan Fitzpatrick, I wasn't sitting here saying, oh, Ryan Fitzpatrick's better than Tom Brady. Nobody in their right fucking mind did that. We were just happy we won the fucking game. Just get over yourself. I get so mad at that. You know, I mean, Josh Allen is probably one of the most overhated athletes I've ever seen in my lifetime watching sports. And, I mean, he's overhated, overcriticized. It's ridiculous. Look, coming out of the draft, I get it. He was a polarizing prospect. He was raw. I get it. His rookie year wasn't good. I get it. But watching his perfect games in the playoffs, watching him blow out the Rams and the Titans, one was a Super Bowl champ last year, the other one was the number 1 seed in the AFC. And because he lost by 2, now 2 is better? Get over yourself, dude. I'm convinced the Dolphins put Tua back out there because they knew Teddy Bridgewater wasn't going to win them that game. And that he wasn't going to get them the job done because he did not look good at all. So they forced Tua back out there knowing he was hurt or dazed or whatever you want to call it. But is the NFL going to investigate it? No. No, they're not. Nothing's going to happen from it. The game's over. It is what it is. You got to move on to Baltimore. You got to move on to the next week. But like I said in last week's roundtable, I said it was going to be hot, 89 degrees, and they're saying it's going to be thunderstorms, but at the end of the day, it was hot. It was 89 degrees, bro, and they were in blue. The Bills are wearing their blue, Miami's wearing their white. It's a scientific advantage. Look, if I was, if our stadium had that and the sun, and I'd be the same way. I'd be like, it's an advantage, do it. If the Bills had that with the snow or whatever, I don't know. I'm just saying, like, if my team had that advantage, I'd want to do it too. I'm not going to sit here and get mad about an advantage, but, like, I'm just saying it was uncomfortable to watch. I'm not going to use that as an excuse. I'm not going to use anything as an excuse. The Bills had missed opportunities that led to missed points on the board. They lost the game because of it. Also, Isaiah McKenzie should have ran out of bounds instead of trying to be shady. You're not Shady McCoy. You're not that guy, bro. I love Isaiah, but you're not that guy. You should have just ran straight out of bounds. You would have maybe had 10 seconds left on the clock. You could have ran one more play, maybe 2, get out of bounds, get the field goal for the win, or maybe you could have got the touchdown on a miracle throw. You never know. But you'll never know. So, it's just aggravating, man. It's just aggravating as fuck. And you thought it was going to be a shootout in the first half. Both teams had 2 touchdowns right away. And then it stalled out in the second half. Once the Dolphins got that kick, you're like, oh boy. Oh boy. And then the Bills had that block punt at the end because Miami kept running plays anyway, you're like, holy shit, we have a chance here. And then it ran down to the wire the way it did, and, you know, that was the ball game. Not to mention, Melvin Ingram bullied the Bills again. I don't know what it is, but every time Melvin Ingram plays the Bills, he bullies us. Whether it was with the Chargers when we started Nathan Peterman, or it was Pittsburgh in the home opener last year, or when he went to Kansas City later on in the season, or now in Miami. I don't know what it is with Melvin Ingram, but this guy bullies us every time, and it is so annoying. And he's a fucking good football player. He's a great pass rusher. He's a good pass rusher. But what the fuck? Like, how have you guys not been able to figure out a game plan around this guy if he keeps bullying you over and over and over again? And honestly, when the Bills went for that field goal with Tyler Bass, they would have been better off just going for it. They've gone for it before. I don't know what they were thinking there. And some of the shit, I still don't know what they were thinking, because that second Bills drive, Zach Moss, 1 yard. 2nd and 9. Again, Zach Moss, 1 yard. It's 3rd and 8 already. And then Josh gets sacked by Javon Hodlin for the strip sack, which is recovered by Melvin Ingram. And then they get the ball back, or 4 plays later, and then they get extra points good. Look, they stayed in until the end. They did. It's just frustrating that they didn't get the win. It's frustrating as fuck that they didn't get the win. That's all I'm saying. And I know a lot of people are saying, oh, the Bills are 0-7 in close games. The stat doesn't matter. I'm sorry. You are literally nitpicking or cherry picking, whatever you want to call it, that stat. Because in 2020, they won all their close one-score games. They won every single one-score game in 2020. And when the Bills win, they're not winning by one score. They're winning by multiple scores because the offense is a juggernaut. With Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs, Gabriel Davis, Isaiah McKenzie, Jamison Crowder, Dawson Knox. You even want to go to last year. We had Beasley and Emmanuel Sanders. Or we even had John Brown in 2020 with Beasley, Diggs, Davis, Knox, obviously. It's a juggernaut of an offense. They don't normally win by one-score games anymore. And when you knew Tyler Bass went for that field goal, you're like, he's got it. Dude's got a boot of a leg, he's got it. And then he missed it, and you're like, what the fuck? The other thing, too, why didn't Mike McDaniels get a delay of game penalty? When he fucking threw the challenge flag, they said there was no challenge, so they wasted a bunch of time for no reason, and then they didn't even lose a timeout. And they didn't even get a delay of game. Like, what the fuck was that? Like, these refs were garbage. Christian Wilkins grabbed Josh's dick. He grabbed his dick. And then nothing. And he's done it before. He did it to Cam Newton, and I think he did it to somebody in college I saw. I don't know who he did it to in college. But he did it to Cam Newton. I mean, he's done it before. The dude's been a cheap artist since he got in the league. He's been always instigating every time he plays us since he's been a rookie in 2019. I hate the Dolphins. I hate this. I hate the Dolphins. And this certainly has put a fucking edge, put a fucking... I don't know, hot wire, I don't know. This put a jump start back into this rivalry. That's the word I'm looking for. A jump start back into this rivalry after this game. I can't wait for the next game. And that's what a lot of Bills fans are waiting for. Is they're ready for the next game. When they come here to Orchard Park. I hope it's fucking cold. I hope it's below 10. Like, I hope it's cold. And I hope both teams are ready for that cold. Because that's going to be a fucking game. That's going to be a revenge game. That's going to be like New England last year. When New England and the Bills played and there was the wind and everything was all screwed up and the Bills lost, the same thing happened. Everyone was writing off the Bills. Everyone was saying Belichick's a genius. The Patriots are back on top. What happened? The Bills went to Foxborough. They kicked the shit out of them. They took the AFC East back and they won the division. Just like that weather situation, the same thing played out in Miami. It was hot, injuries. Team didn't do enough to get it done. Good teams have bad games, it happens. And I guarantee when Miami comes to the Ralph, I guarantee you history will repeat itself. I guarantee you it will. And if it doesn't, then it doesn't. I eat my own words. I move on with my life. I'm just a football fan at the end of the day. It is what it is. But, my God. Don't talk shit when you're ahead like that. Because I guarantee you these fans are going to eat their words. Miami's got it easy now in their schedule. The Bills got it a little harder now, but then it's flip-flops. Let me explain what I mean. So the Bills go to play Baltimore. They come home to play the Steelers. Then they go back on the road to play the Chiefs. Then they're back home to play the Packers. After that, it starts to simmer down a bit. They play the Jets in New York. Then they come back and play the Vikings. Then they're playing home again against the Browns. Then they're playing on primetime Thanksgiving at Detroit. Then they play on Thursday Night Football on Amazon Prime against the Patriots in New England. Play the Jets one more time. Then the Dolphins game in December 18th. And then they play the Bears in Chicago. And then start 2023 by playing at Cincinnati. And then they're back home for the final home game against the New England Patriots. Miami, on the other hand, they've had it pretty easy so far. Other than us. Tomorrow they play the Bengals. After this crazy game. Now they have a short week. They play the Bengals in Cincinnati. Then they're on the road. They play the Jets. Then they're home against the Vikings. Home against the Steelers. Then they're on the road against the Lions. Then the Bears. Then they're home for the Browns and the Texans before going on the road for 3 straight games against the Niners, Chargers, and then they come here to play us. Then they play the Packers at home after they play us. Then they're on the road in New England, and then they play the Jets. So their season doesn't get a little more competitive until later on because after this Bengals game, it's the Jets. I mean, the Vikings are inconsistent as of right now. Steelers aren't good. Lions are a hard-working team. They're a team on the rise, but they still need to find a way to finish and get the W. Bears suck. Browns, they're doing it with Jacoby. They're making it work with Jacoby as a game manager plus, but we'll see. Because eventually Deshaun's coming back, so who knows. Then they play Houston. Not that hard. They'll play the Niners. They'll play the Chargers. They play us again. They play Aaron Rodgers and the Packers. And then New England and Miami games are just weird. They're just flat out weird games. But they'll probably win because Belichick hasn't been able to beat Tua. And then they're playing the Jets. Could be a trap game in there. You never know. It's a week-to-week league. But my point is that they've had it pretty easy compared to us so far. We'll just have to wait and see. It's a week-to-week league, but we'll just have to wait and see. Also, Jaquan Johnson is a 6th-round pick in 2019, not a 4th-round pick. That's my bad. But the Bills were off to a strong start in this game. They were off to a strong start. I mean, they finished the drive with a touchdown. And it was a long drive. By the end of it, when Allen completed the pass on 4th and 2 to Singletary for the touchdown, there was 9 minutes and 6 seconds left on the clock. It started at 15 minutes. I mean, they chewed down some time. Before Miami took over and drove down the field and got the touchdown, they started with 9 minutes and 3 seconds. And then when they got their touchdown, there was 3 minutes and 39 seconds left in the first quarter. So both these were long drives going up and down the field for both teams. It was hot. These guys were getting gassed on offense and defense. I mean, even Miami was having injuries. It was a crazy game. It was honestly a crazy fucking game. But like I said, the missed opportunities is really what cost the Bills in this. It was the Davis drop touchdown, the Tyler Bass field goal botch, Isaiah McKenzie not running out of bounds, the second drive where Moss runs it twice and then it's a strip sack fumble. The injuries played a huge role in this game. The weather played a role. It did. Not using it as an excuse, but it did. Listen, I was in the Army at one point, and when I was at basic for the Forge, and when I was at AIT doing the training exercise out there in the summer in South Carolina and in Virginia, it was hot. It was over 100 degrees, and I was in full kit. It's hot, man. You have extra layers on. It's fucking hot. It's fucking hot. In a way, I know how those guys feel, because it's brutal when you have extra layers on. Like, you're sweating bullets, and then eventually you're dehydrated and you feel sick. It's just brutal. I fell asleep in the woods in the sun, and I woke up with the worst headache of my life. I'll never forget that. And then I had to go do a training exercise where I was getting shot at with blanks, and I had the worst headache in the world. It was terrible. But not that that's the point. I'm just saying, like, the heat sucks, man. It's a whole different animal. Because listen, they're here in the cold, and it's cold in Buffalo, but you still get heaters and you wear coats and shit. I don't know. I would rather be freezing than sweating. Like, the heat's just a different animal. Like, the cold, okay. Like, if you're cold in your house, just put a blanket on or put a sweatshirt on. When it's hot in your house, you're opening the windows, you're wearing a short sleeve shirt and shorts, and you got the fans going if you don't have AC, or you have the AC going. But it's still hot. Like, I don't know. The heat's a different animal, man. It really is. And for all these Dolphins fans saying it didn't matter, they either were at the game cooking with the rest of the fans and players, or they were at home watching it in their nice, cooled, air conditioning house or apartment, whatever. For the people saying that, oh, it wasn't that bad. Well, you clearly weren't there. You clearly weren't there. So, I don't know why you're talking. I just can't. I get so frustrated. The Bills, like I said, they signed Xavier Rhodes. That's going to help them at corner. And they signed Murray from a former Arizona Cardinal to help on that offensive line depth-wise. They need bodies right now. Like, they need bodies out there. And they're also working on another defensive back. They held a workout with defensive back Jamar Perry. He used to play for the Dolphins. So they're trying to find depth. They're trying to get bodies out there, and that's a good thing. And Brandon Beane's been able to plug guys in no problem and make it work. So I'll continue to trust Brandon Beane on that. But they got to get healthy, and they got to prepare for the Ravens and Lamar Jackson. I mean, this guy, like I said, he's a hell of an athlete, and he'll just run all over you. They had a great game plan against him in the playoffs in 2020 in the divisional round. But, you know, he's having another MVP season so far, just like in 2019 when he was an animal. And you still got to watch out for Lamar Jackson, man. And like I said, in a pure passing situation, he hasn't been that great. But so far, throughout this season so far, he's been able to do whatever he wants. And if Lamar can do whatever he wants, and that's running, passing, whatever, he's gonna go lights out. He's gonna have a good game. And right now he's the front runner for MVP, with Jalen Hurts behind him, and maybe, you know, Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, Rodgers, and, you know, Herbert, etc., etc. But it's still too early to tell. Obviously, we're only going into week 4 here, but you got to watch out for Lamar Jackson. J.K. Dobbins is coming back. And Rashad Bateman's fast. Duvernay is fast. Mark Andrews is the number one target for Lamar Jackson. He bails him out all the time. You got to be careful with this Ravens team. John Harbaugh's a good head coach, and he's been coaching this team for a long time. you got to be ready for this team. And we're going into Baltimore, and there'll probably be rain because of Hurricane Ian right now. You know, the whole East Coast is getting hit with rain. Here in Buffalo, it's been raining all week. All week it's been raining, and it's probably going to rain in Baltimore, or maybe it'll be scattered showers. But you know, let's just say if it's raining and it's windy, Buffalo's going to have to rely on the running game. That has been non-existent, and Baltimore's running game hasn't been existing either because, you know, Dobbins has been out and then Justice Hill hasn't got anything going, and none of these other running backs they have has been able to get anything going. Gus Edwards is still hurt, so I'm not sure what's going to happen in this game. Weather could play an effect in this game too, and it honestly wouldn't be surprising if the Bills start 2-2 if these guys are still out with injuries. You're not going to win games when your team's not healthy. It is what it is. It sucks, but it's true. Baltimore didn't get in the playoffs last year because their whole team was hurt. It's a tough sport. It's a physical, demanding sport. Not just mentally, not just physically, but shit, even emotionally. It's all of it. It's a tough sport. Injuries happen. It's a part of the game. And the league's always trying to, you know, get down on player safety, but you know, these guys will still get hurt. It's a fast game, and the game's only getting faster every year. The game's only going to get faster every year, just like in hockey. It's only going to get faster. These young guys are only going to get faster. It is what it is. The Bills know they have to learn from it. They do every time, and it seems like, you know, every time they have a heartbreaking loss like this, they always tend to bounce back. Whether it was the Hail Murray, or maybe it was 13 seconds, or the Jacksonville game, or the Indy game last year. You know, they found ways to bounce back. They found ways to overcome that adversity. The Houston game in 2019, look how Allen did the following season. I'm just saying, like, they've been through heartbreaking losses, and they've been able to bounce back. They had 13 seconds. Look what they did against the Rams and Titans. So, my confidence with the injuries is not as high as I'd like it, but I'm certainly not going to sit here and give up on the season yet. We still got a long ways to go. We just got to get healthy, and we just got to be better. And the other thing I'll say too, you know, for the people getting upset with Ken Dorsey because he was throwing his tablet and his books everywhere and he was all upset, you'd be upset too. You would be upset too if you were calling plays, you didn't know who was out there for player personnel, you didn't know who you had out there, so you didn't know exactly what formations you could run. You just kind of had to do with the best of your ability. And, you know, you're right there, and all the missed opportunities, and I'd be mad too. You'd be mad too. All these people rage on Madden are the same people saying he shouldn't have probably got that mad. Kyle Brandt switching up, like, come on, guys. One game and everybody's switching up. Like, if you're going to switch up, don't bother coming back here. Don't bother coming back here if you're going to switch up now. That's all I got to say on that. Don't get mad at Ken Dorsey because he's a competitive guy and he's got heart and he's showing it, and it shows he fucking cares. I want a coach like that that's going to care, who's going to get just as upset as fans. It means they care. It means they want to win games. Instead of it just like, oh, we just got to execute. We just got to execute better. I mean, come on. And I know McDermott's good at hiding his emotions, but he still gets pissed too. He just doesn't show it. And he says the same media stuff, but there are coaches, as we've seen out there, that just say, oh, we gotta execute, and they don't give a fuck. They're just there for the paycheck. I mean, not even just in football. Look at hockey. Ralph Kruger didn't give a fucking flying ass shit about the Sabres. Or Jeff Skinner or anybody. All the time, we gotta get better. We gotta execute better. Shit, Ryan O'Reilly said the same thing, and he didn't even want to be here anymore. Can't blame him on that because the Sabres are a shit show, but it's that game was tough. That was a tough game, but we were bound to have one of those games like that. I mean, Jacksonville last year in 2019, we played Cleveland. That was a trap game. These games happen. It's the NFL. It's a part of the sport. It is what it is. And Mike McDaniel's a weirdo. Look, they've upgraded. He had a good game plan. Dude coached a good game, was able to get the win for them. He coached a game for them, was able to get the win for them. But he's a weirdo. I'm sorry, he's a weirdo. We're on to the next game, though. it happened. It is what it is, and Buffalo will be ready for the next game. But we got to look forward. We got to move forward to Baltimore. Got to get ready for Lamar Jackson. Dane Jackson came back to practice today. Tim Settle was out there. He looked better. These guys are only going to get healthier. It can't get much worse than this. Knock on wood, but it can't get much worse than this. All we can do is move forward, and that's what we're going to do. But at the end of the day, it came down to missed opportunities, left points on the board, and we didn't get it done. We just got to move forward. Buffalo Bills are still a good football team. Even with the practice squad, they're still a good football team. It's still a long season. We still got plenty of football left. And we're going to go out there and we're going to keep doing our thing. We're going to win football games. So, everybody can sit here and talk all this shit, hate all they want, switch up real fast. Just don't come back in December when we're in the playoffs. That's all I got to say. And everyone's like, oh, Bills fans are being cocky and this and that. Especially hearing it from Patriots fans. Shut the fuck up. Like, shut up. Patriots fans, you had it good for 20 years. Jets fans, you're in the basement. Dolphins fans, you got one win over the Bills. Let the talking on the field do the work instead of running it with your mouse. It's ridiculous. It's fucking ridiculous. And look, there are Bills fans out there that are like, oh, we got Josh, we're fine. Yeah, well, the Packers did the same thing with Aaron Rodgers and Mike McCarthy. The whole organization was like, well, we have Aaron Rodgers, we're fine. And then Aaron Rodgers had no defense, had no one to throw the ball to, like now. No. We're not going to have this philosophy where, oh, well, we have Josh Allen, we're fine. No, a realistic opinion and going into this game would be, we got to face Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, like I was saying, and we have injuries. Not, oh, we have Josh Allen, we're fine. But we still do have JA-17 and Stephon Diggs. That's a good pair to have. I love Josh. And as long as we have Josh, we're going to stay in the games. We're still going to be competitive and have a chance to win. But it's not going to be an automatic W just because we have Josh Allen. I love Josh, but all these other teams too. Just because you have Aaron Rodgers or Tom Brady or Patrick Mahomes or Justin Herbert, Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson, whatever. You're not going to win every game. You're not. And we're just competitive fans and we love our team and we're just really hyped for the season finally being here, and we have really high expectations, and it's Super Bowl or bust this year. It's really, really important, probably the most important year of our franchise. So yeah, Bills fans are going to be up in arms and wanting to win the whole goddamn thing. Why not? If your team was Super Bowl or bust, you'd be the same fucking way. That's all I got to say on that. But we're on to Baltimore. The other NFL roundtable's coming up, but I just wanted to talk about this game separately because it was just a fucking gaggle fuck. It was just a fucking crazy hell of a fucking mess of a fucking game. And it is what it is. We still got a lot of football left. We're going to keep doing our thing. Got to get the missed opportunities right. We got to correct that shit. And one final thing I will add before I end the episode. Tua is not as good as everyone says he is. And before you come at me about that, you mean to sit here and tell me you go 13 of 18 completions for 186 yards and 1 touchdown against a banged up secondary with no starters back there? Come on. Tua is not as good as everyone says he is. He's improved, but he's not as good as everyone says he is. And I'm just going to leave it at that. You can't beat a banged-up secondary. You're not as good as everyone's saying you are. You're not up there with Herbert. You're not up there with Mahomes, Allen, Brady, Rodgers, like everyone's trying to hype him up to be. Listen, Lamar Jackson's on the rise. Jalen Hurts is on the rise. Tua is nowhere near them. Nowhere near. I'm going to end the video here. I'll see you guys in the next video. Go Bills.